Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a certified spiritualist, magical practitioner, and energy healer. And today my friend Illeana and I would like to tell everyone about magic.
Chloe, can you tell me a little bit what magic is and how it works?
Well, I think that magic is a little bit different for everyone, but from my perspective, what magic is the process of actually using the energy around you and the energy within you and the energy of different tools that you're working with for your magical processes to actually be able to create what you want in your life. So you can use this energy to actually manifest things or to make things happen for you in your life. So for example, by using the energy within you and being able to use the universal life force energy around you, you can actually work with these energies in order to achieve a specific goal. Like perhaps you want to work on yourself and you want to be attracting more love in your life. You can do a spell or working for that. Or perhaps you'd like to attract more money or abundance in your life. You can do a working around that. And basically what you're doing is you're working with these energies and working with your subconscious mind to be able to create things. It's like magic is a lot like a creative energy, if you will.
So what do you mean by creative energy? Can you explain that a little bit?
So basically, the creative energy and the life force energy is all stored within the lower chakras in this area. And so martial artists use this energy, as well as energy healers when they're channeling energy out of their hands to the client that they're working with. And also magical practitioners work with this energy. You may have experienced a feeling of being part of this energy, perhaps when you're out for a walk in nature or you're walking along the beach. You can feel a great deal of good energy around you. So whenever I do magic, I work with the positive energy and I work with the energies from nature. And this is basically working with the herbs, the crystals, and also working with powerful manifestation tools like working with your voice, with your mind, your emotions, your intentions, and working with spells, which is the written form of the word, or in magic we call them the words of power. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, and what type of things can you manifest with magic? Can you describe examples of that, please?
So magic is practiced all over the world in very different ways. However, the types of things that I like to work with magic, so that it's basically for the highest good of all and there's no negative impact on anyone, is to basically work on myself. So for example, a lot of people need to forgive. So this is a practice that I've done as well. You can do a forgiveness practice. You can, and this can help you to let go of negative things that have happened to you in your life. You can also, if you want more love and more joy in your life, you can attract that, or you can work with, and each type of working that you do has specific types of herbs that are associated in their metaphysical properties or their spiritual properties to work well with these types of energies. So lots of people want to increase their abundance and the amount of money they have in their life too. So that's something that you can also work with. And I always suggest to people and my students to work on yourself. Don't do workings for others unless they specifically ask you for it. And if you're doing a love spell, don't do it on a specific individual, because this is really borderlining or even considered dark magic. Because whenever you use your will to affect another's life or destiny, you are working against the natural flows of nature. And when we're working with light magic or positive magic, we always want to work with the natural flows of nature instead of work against them in a forceful way. Some magicians work in a very forceful way. This would be considered baneful or even dark magic, and this is not the type of magic that I do.
So you work with light magic.
That's right. But anytime you're basically working with your will in a forceful or negative way, you're working with the darker forces of the energies. So basically what you want to do is make sure that your intentions are very positive and clear, and even before, during, and after you're doing any kind of magical practice, you want to make sure to meditate or do some deep breathing. Really prepare your mind and your emotions so that you're calm, you're peaceful, and you feel very comfortable with everything that you're doing. Never do anything in magic that you don't feel comfortable with, because like I said, working with magic is working also with the energies from within. So if you don't feel comfortable with something, or if you have a lot of fear around doing magic, it's probably not the right time to start on it, because that can affect the results, the outcome of your workings. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And also, you said timing of magic. There's certain times of the year where you can do your magic. Can you explain how that works for us, please?
Absolutely. So most traditional practitioners, like Wicca practitioners, will work with the moon cycles. So for example, if it's a new moon, you're usually banishing, which is another word of getting rid of anything from your life. So maybe you just want to get rid of fear from your life. It's always good to work with yourself, like I said, because it's much safer rather than influence others. And if it's a full moon, you can bring in good things for yourself. So that might be a good time to bring in more money. That's the traditional way of working. You can also work with the sun cycles, with the solstices. There are many different, it would take too long to describe all of the different timing, but even the different days of the week can have different significance. But like with any practice where you're working with energy, the best thing to do is to just work with your own intuition. So if you feel like the timing is right to do a specific magical working, then just do it. Don't worry so much about the moon cycles and things like that. It's more important that you feel comfortable with what you're doing, because like I said, your emotions and your thoughts affect what you're doing. And just another aside from your question on that is to really understand that it's our thoughts and our emotions that are affecting our life. So this is also going to be a predominant factor in the magic that we're doing.
Also, sometimes there are rules and laws when you do magic, so how does that apply to what you do with the magic workings?
So there's actually a lot of different ethics that you can learn around magic. So I've touched on that a little bit, just in terms of whatever you manifest or whatever you create through your magic, you want to be a little bit careful with the kind of energy that you're putting into it and the intentions that you're putting into it. Make sure that not only your intentions are pure, but also everything that you're doing is pure. So personally, although in voodoo, for example, which is another form of magic, they sometimes do animal sacrifices. Now, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that myself, because even though working with the energy from the animal can definitely add a lot of potency to your spell, I wouldn't do that, because then I would have the negative energy of killing that animal, which I would never want to have influence my spell. So anytime you have any negative energy in your spell, it will backfire against you in life. So for those of you who understand karma, anything negative that we do in this lifetime is going to affect us at some point. So it's basically the idea of what goes around comes around. Or in magical terms, it's as above, so below, as within, so without. So the as within, so without aspect has to do with making sure that whatever you're creating in your magic, that you are comfortable within, that you don't have major issues or anxieties. I mean, nobody's perfect, but to put good energy and good intention in what you're doing. That's basically the main law, but actually there's a whole bunch of hermetic laws, and I recommend a channel called Mind and Magic by Frater Xavier. And if you watch all of the Mystery School videos, then you'll get a basic understanding of the Hermetic laws, or you can read books about the Hermetic laws too. And these are the laws that govern the universe and that govern us. And by understanding those laws, which affect the energies within us and around us, then we can work in a more efficient way with our magic. Because again, like I say, it's working with energy. So understanding how energy is working is really important.
And you mentioned at the beginning of the video that you work with tools in your magic. How does that work? Like wands, for example, and crystals. What do you do with that? And do you make those yourself?
Right, yeah. So for me, this is a real passion. I mean, my biggest tool with magic, like I said, is my subconscious mind, my thoughts, my emotions, my words, the words that I say and the words that I write down. You can also work with sigils, which are like magical symbols. You can also even work with there's different kinds of magical languages that you can work with. And besides working with my own energies, working with herbs and the energy of herbs is just fantastic, because I believe that herbs not only have their physical purpose, which is they have wonderful, beautiful medicinal properties that can help us, but also their spiritual purpose of helping us to create things in our lives. So for example, rose and lavender are very good for love, but all of the different herbs have a different metaphysical or magical aspect to them, and we can work with them either putting them in a bag or putting them in a candle and burning them and doing our prayer or spell over them. And the herbs basically work with our energy. We inject our energy also into the herbs, and then we're able to create something that's even more powerful because we're also working with the energy of the herbs. There's also crystals which you can work with, and that could be a whole video in and of itself, but you can work with crystals around your candle when you're doing your spell. You could also work with crystals in a grid to help manifest or create what you want, and have that as part of your working as well. So crystals can also have powerful protective properties as well. So certain crystals like obsidian can be used to protect the home while you're doing a working in your home. You can work with wands that have crystals on them as well, and these you can use to direct energy or again to protect your space. What other tools? I also make magical staffs as well. There's a number of different tools. Also working with the herbs like sage to smudge your space and cleanse. I could go on, but those are some of the basic tools that we tend to work with.
And would you recommend starting with beginner's magic before you get into the other more advanced stuff?
Yes, thank you for asking that. I think it's really important to learn, first of all, learn what's going on in your subconscious mind. Learn about the different kinds of programming that you've got going on there, whether it's your religious programming from your parents, any negative programming, and work on yourself, number one. You want to work on your feelings, your subconscious. There's some videos by Bob Proctor that talk about the subconscious mind that you can work with to understand how the subconscious mind is affecting absolutely everything in your life. That's number one. And one of the main things I tell my students to do when they're first starting out with magic is to banish negative thoughts and just say, I reject that thought. And then when positive thoughts come in, to accept those thoughts. That's a great way of starting to work with your subconscious. Working with self-hypnosis and guided meditation is also a great way to start off in magic. Then once you've done a little bit of that, then you can start learning about the hermetic laws and also the ethical laws of working with magic, and what are the benefits but also the consequences if working with magic in a way that's not conducive to a positive result. So definitely don't do anything advanced before you do those first steps. And I offer a beginner's workshop in magic so that you can learn all of these things at a comfortable pace. And even if you're not sure if you want to actually practice magic, you can still benefit a lot by learning about magic. This is actually how I got into it. I originally just wanted to learn about the healing properties of herbs, and then I ended up just learning about magic, and I didn't practice magic right away. I just learned about how magic was used around the world and how I could work with it. And then when I was really comfortable with the idea, then I did it, because a lot of people have a lot of negative perceptions about magic, don't you find? So even when we talk about magic, people think of really weird stuff, like they think of magic tricks, or they think of, you know, black magic, or they think of witches with warts and big noses, you know what I mean? But magic is something that has been practiced over the ages, and there's a tremendous amount of powerful and effective knowledge, and the best thing to do is to really learn about it as much as you can before even practicing it at all. Does that make sense? That way you're really comfortable with it. So it's like doing your research first, feeling comfortable with it, understanding what it is so that you're not afraid of it and you don't think that it's just black magic or just some weird, creepy thing. And I think a lot of people that don't know anything about magic feel that way, don't you?
Yeah, it's about feeling comfortable with what you're doing, knowing what you're doing. So researching the types of magic you want to learn is very important. And magic goes back, way, way back to the Celtics, to the Druids, and even before that in the ancient times.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about where you can be reached at, your website and contact information?
Definitely. So you can visit me, and we'll put a link below here, at airleareikimassage.com. And then you want to go to services, where I've got my description of my magic course there. And you can call me on the phone. I can give you a free consultation over the phone. And like I said, I'm offering a light magic manifestation workshop for beginners. This is, you can either get private training or small groups of 2 to 4 people. So it's a small intimate group or a private training kind of thing. And I will be interviewing you a little bit prior to the first class, just to make sure that it's a good fit. And yeah, that's about it. So it's at airleareikimassage.com, and on there you can see my healing services, the spiritual services that I do, as well as the magical workshop, the crystal workshops. And just feel free to call, text, or email me anytime.
Well, thank you, Chloe. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, thanks for watching.